Okay. So,
Hey guys, if oh you're recorded, sorry. Do your intro.
oh yeah.
Apologize. I'll cut it out.
No, it's okay. So yeah, none of this is. Hey guys, so welcome to class. This is none of this is financial advice. This is all education. Whatever we say, is from our own experience, what we've learned around, and but take that with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence before you take any trade. Even what we tell you is what we understand, right? So always go over those things again, and go from there basically. Yeah. Sorry, Smo. What were you saying?
No, we're just saying it's a smaller class, so as long as you guys don't have any background noise, just leave yourselves unmuted. This is it's for educational purposes. Ask you any questions you want. It's an intro to trading, so there's no such thing as a stupid question, especially on this live. So feel free to unmute, act away, feel comfortable.
Yeah, ask as many questions as you want. That's actually the better way to do it because there's no point in me just rambling on if you don't have any questions or if you're not or if it's not pertinent to you guys, right? Like if you feel like this is not what you want to ask or what you want to get out of a session, there's no point of me rambling on about something. So
There's
yeah,
no agenda really for the session.
yeah, yeah, there isn't. That's why I love this session.
Chris,
Um,
you had a question?
Oh no, I didn't. My bad.
That's okay. No worries. Anybody else has any questions for today? Like what they did today, what you guys experienced today, what happened in the market, all of that jazz? Or do you want me to just go over like a penny stock trade? I know I haven't done that in a while because I just haven't done a lot of penny stock just because of the volatility. And just the small caps have been like pushing down. So even the pushes up are not as sustainable. So if you want me to go over this trade of mine, I'd be happy to do that. Or we can discuss something else, what happened today in the market. Or we can discuss futures or options, whatever you guys like.
I mean that would be good if you could do that, or like go over like an older trade that you took. You know what I mean? A couple of weeks ago, and just kind of show
Yeah.
me or everybody why, and you know what I mean, how it worked out, or even how it didn't work out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we were talking about this earlier when Smooth came on, right? Like he was asking about the same thing because I haven't done it. I know Moin has been on a little break from penny stocks, right? I saw this come on the scanner at 402, I think, or 403. This is when like it had a big push over here. It came on the scanner, like our scanner. I didn't see any news associated with it. I think not that I remember, to be fairly honest. But I just saw that it had a good push and it had good volume. So it had 12,000 shares over here, jumped up to 13, and then did this huge 16,000 push over here. Nothing really else was moving that much. So when it broke this psychological $2 level, this is where I took my trade. I got in at a market order at 2.08 or something of that sort. Um, so I was showing this. There weren't any big levels on it. Like if you look back at this, this has been beaten down to a pulp. The reason why I liked it was there's this huge gap over here, which you can go back like quite a bit and still not find any level for it. It's just been coming down and down, and that's what it is with most penny stocks. You'll see them bump up and go down and bump up and come down and bump up and come down. Unless it's a very successful company, then you won't see it. But most penny stocks, that's what it happens to them. So one thing that was really attractive was the fact that it was beaten down. It was gaining some traction. It had a big gap over here, though the gap was like really far away. We were at when I got in, it was at 2, and this is from 3 to 4. So I thought it had good potential. It could move. Actually, it was one. It started at 1.4. Let me put it this way: it was at 1.4. It's a little far away, but I was like, if it gains traction, this is a very good reward if it can even come close to this. So I drew a couple of levels out. Most of them are um, were by like these are psychological levels. There's 2.5. This one at $2 was kind of psychological as well. So I entered with just that. To be fairly honest, there was not a lot of um, levels that were there. So that's why my profit target was really small as well. If it were more levels, I would have probably aimed higher. I entered on this candle right here, that 204. I think that's when my message went out as well. Like I literally entered and I messaged because that's the fastest I could do at 404. Yeah, so 404. This is where I entered. I took my first at 225. which was somewhere around over here, 225, and I took my second at 2.5. So these were all like just psychological levels. I usually try to take it at 2.48. I don't wait for the 2.5, even though it did touch it. Sometimes you just touch at 2.5, and like one order gets filled for somebody random, and you don't get it. So I try to stay a little bit below. That's what I took my second order. And then I just like touched it again, wicked it up, and then came back down. My I set my stop loss at 2.10 because for two reasons. One, VWAP was right over here, so I was like, if it breaks VWAP and then just keeps going down, it just might keep going down. The second one was my entry was at 2.08, so I wanted to come out on a green trade, right? I didn't want to risk it because when things go down, they start to go down really fast. So I wanted to be mindful of that. The mistake that I made was that even though we're on the 1 minute, we never really broke the 9 EMA. Now, you can risk it by going down, but the problem is that, if I would have risked it all the way coming down, we would have gone to 1.97, which is a 5% loss. And if I would have gone down anywhere below it, that would have become from a 5 to a 6 or a 7 or an 8% loss, right? There's no, in my mind, why would I take the loss when I was already green on a trade? So that was just my thought process. You could always take that because it could come over here and bounce, which is exactly what it did. But also you could go down. So I was like, if it goes up, I'll try to re-enter. That's the only thing that I can think of. So I took this, went down. The minute it went down, I kicked myself out at 2.1, and it went down fairly fast. So it was a little surprising to me that happened. But it kind of kept coming up over here, and the volume never really died. So surprisingly enough, this was the volume that showed to me on the 1 minute, and I was so happy that I came out because the volume was really low over here compared to the last two ones. And then I saw that the volume just kept on increasing after that, and I was like, potato, whatever. If it's already rejected from the $2.5 level, the site level, if it breaks up over here, I will enter again. Whatever. What's the worst that's gonna happen? That's the only thing that I can think of, right? So when I saw this going back up and volume going back up, I entered again at 2.56, I think. I took a little bit of risk again with VWAP over here. So I was negative a good 5% on this candle, but it went down and it came back up again. I didn't even have time to stop it, to be really honest. So that was the only saving grace, I guess, for me. Otherwise, I would have taken a loss. If it would have broken VWAP, I would have exited again and taken a loss, and that would have been the end of it. But it kind of pushed really nice, so I took it again at 2.75 or 2.8. I think I took my next one, and then at 2.98, I took my next one because again, 3 is a psychological level. So those are the two profits that I took. And then it did the same thing again. It was starting to come down. Since my entry was at 2.5, I kept this that if it breaks the 9 EMA, which was what I didn't follow here, I was like, I'm going to do this, and then it literally broke it over here. So I came out over here, I think a little bit lower at 2.5-ish. I think it was this candle that I came out at 2.56. I think it was this one at 6:30 because I remember I was out of the trade by 6:30. Oh, 4:30, sorry. I think it was this one. I think maybe I got filled like right at the bottom of this candle, maybe, and it bounced a little bit up, and maybe I could have made a little bit more, but that was, the exit of it. And then yeah, it bounced around a little bit. It's nice that it's bouncing around right now as well. This is encouraging for a setup for tomorrow. You could probably look at it. It's still maintaining its gain a decent amount. The volume hasn't completely, faded. Like it has these bursts of volumes in between it. Yes, I mean it's low right now, but it's maintaining its price action over here. So usually when I'm looking for an overnight setup, which I try not to do these days just because of how volatile the market is, this is one thing that is really nice. Like if something pumps up and stays up pretty much the entire after hours, like for the next 4 hours, that's something is encouraging to me that tomorrow it might have a nice spike to maybe $3, and then it might just fade back down, or it might go up more. The two things that you have to remember, one of the reasons why I went in, obviously, it has a small free float of 1.3 million shares only, so it has the chance of squeezing nicely. There's no short sale on this over here, but I think I remember the CTB for this being fairly decent, if I'm not wrong. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I can check again. Let's see. Actually, it wasn't actually. It was like 6% or something of that sort. Actually, I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else. But yeah, the short shares available were very few. When I checked it, it was like 300 or 100. So I knew that even though it's a small float, the short shares available are almost non-existent. And even though the CTP was low, I was like it's probably gonna climb. So I took that risk and it worked out fairly decent. Two 10% trades, almost. So in total 20%. That's not a bad trade overall. And then what was the other one that I was looking at? The other one that I was really interested in looking at was um, ARB, I think, ARBB, after hours. Yeah, ARBB. So I missed this one. Really annoyed with myself. This was a really nice pump, but it was one pump in one go, and I just missed it completely. So this would have been a nice trade all the way from 0.6 almost to 1.3, but literally did all of that in one candle. So couldn't really take this. But again, this is again for tomorrow. I would keep a lookout on this for tomorrow and see how it responds in the morning. It could pump up nicely again. And again, this is slightly bigger float. Free float is almost 10 million, so it might be a little bit slower. But ARB has done like pumped a couple of times, I think, if I'm not wrong. If you look at the hourly, look at the number of pumps: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the seventh one. And this is all within the last month and a half. 7 times in the last month and a half. So it's nice to look at those things as well. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah. So that was my trade. My futures trade were this morning. Like I traded for a little bit early in the morning. It went out okay. But they weren't like any structure-based trades, to be really honest. I would show, but actually I can't even show you now because the evening session, like today's session started, so it doesn't even record those. But they were like fairly random. Like I wish I had stuck around for a little bit longer and seen the huge moves that happened during the rest of the day. That would have been really great. But unfortunately I wasn't there for that one. So I can't really share that part of it. So now it's back to you guys. What do you guys think? What did you guys trade? Do you guys have any questions on what you did today? Or am I having an early bedtime today?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, I was wondering what time do you recommend to trade futures?
So everybody has their own thing, man. I'll be really honest, right? Everybody has their own thing. You would have seen like in the future section, Geo, his name tag is I think Geo Bandit, G Bandit, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he trades the evening, like he trades the night, and he does amazing, absolutely like amazing. You will see Moen, MHM. He trades anytime that he can find, in his life. He will probably trade futures and do great. Like the ticker could be moving like 1 point, and he'll probably like scalp that for 25 bucks, and he's gonna be happy, right? I have this I have this problem that I want a good chunk of the move. Like I want like 3-4 points on ES, which in a time like this right now, so especially at 7 or 8 o'clock even, there's no real big volume. You'll have to wait minutes for the same trade. 5 minutes for that same trade, and I don't like doing that, to be really honest. I'll show you why. Look at this. So this is usually I'll show you my bracket order. My bracket order is usually this. Like for example, if I tried getting it over here, this is my bracket order for 4 points. Like if I'm buying over here, like I need to sell over here to get those 4 points. This is huge. I have to probably buy over here. If I bought over here, somehow I would have like finished this trade over here, right? So while you do have to kind of adapt to different times, you have to remember your own psychology as well, because that's the most important thing. There's a reason why there's so many different ways of trading. Why somebody will show you that, oh, this is working beautifully for you, but it doesn't work beautifully for me, or a third person, because most of the times it's not the technique. Generally, it's your psychology that matters. That's what I've learned out of my last year or year and a half of really like serious trading. That most of the times it's my psychology being significantly different than everybody else, or a second person or whoever I'm comparing myself to, that influences how I trade. So I can't trade.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I can't trade this time at all. I can't wait 8 minutes in a trade to get that um, the move that I'm looking for. Smooth trades a little bit even more differently than me. He likes an even bigger move, right? So he's gonna wait for like a good volume with break of structure and everything else coming in. So he's gonna wait the entire day if he needs to, just for that one move, because that's how he likes to trade. You know, so and unfortunately you have to kind of figure that out. Like what's that percentage that makes sense for you? People say that, oh, when you're starting out, take, like in penny stocks, for example, take a 2% gain or a 3% gain or a 5% gain, whatever. And then, set X amount of loss, whatever, so that your wins are greater than your losses. And that's fine, but it's very difficult to adhere to because, you know what your psychology wants, right? And I know everybody wants the best trade possible, which is never possible ever. You can't trade the whole move ever. Like it's impossible. Like if you were looking at this on SPY, I doubt anybody traded this move from all the way over here to like all this move over here at close, right? Like it's impossible to do that. You only catch chunks of this generally. If you started your position over here, you would have been really happy over here on this candle only. Now, I can come and say, oh, I came down over here and then I bought again over here and then I sold over here. That's generally a lie. Nobody can do that. Nobody does that, to be really honest. And if you did it, it was pure luck, no skill, absolutely. So, you have to realize where your psychology allows you to take profit and where it allows you to cut as well. So that is all dependent on you. You'll figure out a trading style which you like. If you like it slow, low and slow, you'll figure that out. If you figure out, and you'll also figure out what you want to trade, right? I can't trade NQ, for example, which is the equivalent of QQQ, because it just moves so fast, especially during market hours. It annihilates me absolutely. Like I have blown multiple evals trying to do it. Then trying to
I did
trade,
it.
then trying to do it.
That's what I trade.
Yeah, that's what he trades, right? So exactly my point, right? Like, and Moin trades both. He will trade like NQ or ES, doesn't matter. Whatever's moving.
Depending on the volume, yeah, the
depending on
volatility, yeah.
Yeah, he'll trade everything. So it a lot of it is experience, time, your own psychology, what capital you're doing with, how much risk you want to do, and all of those inherently you'll adjust your own risk as well. Like that's one of those things that plays in your psychology as well. Taking profit, where you cut, what you trade, how long you want to be in a trade with, all of those things are there. So if you have those things defined, I can definitely help you a little bit. But those are things that I thought that I would trade NQ. I saw Smooth trading it, I saw Moin trading it. I was like, this moves so nicely. It looks like a penny stock and it moves fast, moves nice. I'll do it. And it turns out it kicked my butt absolutely. Couldn't do it.
Chris, do you currently trade futures, or are you just trying to get into it? Chris? I guess he's aware.
Yeah, maybe.
Are you muted again?
No.
I saw that, man. I saw you mute and unmute.
Yeah, I saw you unmute.
Oh, hi.
Maybe you can type it out if you can.
But if you guys sort of want an answer, I guess, to the question that he was asking, a good time to start off is between like 5 and 9 a.m. That's a fairly good time to figure out how you want to play futures, what you're comfortable, like where you're comfortable trading and how you're comfortable trading. Because around 5 to 9, then that's when you start seeing like a little bit of structure come in, a little bit more uh like volume picks up, momentum is there, and you get a mix of the overnight, and you get a little bit of mix of like the New York stock exchange as well, as far as like how fast things are moving. And another thing that's good is you have the volume from the previous day. Um, right, New York Open, whether it was above or below. Then you have all of the Asia highs, pretty much the entire Asia session, and then you have the overlap of the Asia and the London session between like 2 and 5. So you have a little bit of volume to work with. Um, like as far as looking at like the volume profile, see where the volume is grouping up, because at the end of the day, if the stock is not moving much, it's creating volume in an area at a level, at some price level. Um, even like if you look at ES last night or this morning at 4 a.m., it from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. it stayed pretty much at 4,470, like as a midpoint. It stayed in that range the whole day. So at any point, like if you just wanted to go long, or you wanted to go short on a rejection of it, like you have an area of volume in that range. So like if you had traded at 7 or you traded at 9, you could just see us the moment we pushed over it. That was a little scalp you could have waited for. Look for some supports along the way. There's enough momentum between that time to help you like chase a direction, but it is slow moving, so you get that feel of the Asia session. Um, when I first started playing futures, I did a lot of the Asia sessions and that 5 to 9, where I would get into a trade, look at my volume profile. I would just set a buy, a stop loss, and a take profit, and I would just let it ride out. And more times than not, it actually worked out in my favor. Um, but that I was more learning, so I was willing to wait the 20, 30 minutes for a trade to take place. Um, but it's decent returns depending on how much you size in. But the momentum will give you directions for sure, especially that early in the morning. I really like that time. It's a mix of Asia sessions and the New York Stock Exchange as far as momentum, and you have more information to work with. I think personally, 5 to 9.
Yeah, I really like this time from 8:30, this 8:30 time or 8:20 or maybe even 8 o'clock, whatever. But 8:30 to like 9, I really like this chunk of time in the middle. Maybe even up to 9:15, it's fine. After that, the volatility kind of starts to vary quite a bit. I step out completely from this 9:30 to 10 o'clock, maybe even. Like this time, I completely step out. I just don't touch it because the moves are sometimes so erratic that it will bounce down, and you'll be in a long or something of that sort, and it will completely, like, the minute you it will just fall so hard and so fast that you can blow an account. So I generally try to move out of this, and then like this 10 o'clock to 11ish is like a really good time. Like I've had good success in trading that part because you have excellent volume during that time. So and the moves aren't as insane. You still get nice pushes up or nice pushes down, whatever, in this, and you'll get it. Today was like an exceptional day. You got like a huge move down and then like a huge move up, absolutely. So this was really nice.
That's what I traded on NQ this morning. I traded like the specific candle is 940. I got in and out and 2 seconds. My trade was 2 seconds long.
No.
Like
Yeah,
940
this one.
on NQ. So if you look at QQQ, it'll probably show you it better. But it was just a straight rejection of a relop, and I just got in and out. Like right 940.
Look at that green candle on. Oh,
It was such a disgustingly long candle.
Yeah, future. I'm sorry, I was looking at futures for it right now. Like there's like a huge push up, huge green candle on ES right now. But
Just now?
8 o'clock. Yeah, just now. 8 o'clock today. 9:40 is.
Oh yeah, that's when Asia starts picking up.
Yeah.
That's when the Asia sessions officially starts.
Yeah.
Hmm
9:40 candle. Where's the 9:40 candle? And there it is. 9:40 candle. There it is. Nice rejection. Yeah. Came down all the way. Nice. So yeah, so we all develop our way of doing it. You'll realize it, dude. Like it takes a little bit of trial and error, but you'll realize it. I promise.
And then 940 candle looks so different on QQQ. What? Is it the one with the big red? Yeah, no. On NQ, it's the candle like right after that. That's what
Oh,
the
I thought you took
940
it.
candle looks like the 941 candle.
Ah, okay. I thought you took it like right here, like absolutely, like
No, no, I
rejection
took
and then
the candle right after that candle.
got it.
That big red candle. Yeah, I just got in and got out. It
Got
filled me like as soon as I clicked place order, it filled me. Like I was like, what the heck? I thought it like I thought I blew my account because I thought it went against me. Because when you pull your account, there's like that delay
Yeah.
before it happens, and you're like, oh wait, I lost it.
That would have been horrifying. Uh,
I got scared. I was like, oh god, hold on, my chart froze.
yeah. So sorry. So Chris, yeah. So no, that's perfectly fine, dude. Like my daughter was sitting right behind me. I'm sure you guys heard like her playing behind me. Yeah. If you're trading, I would like if you just started trading futures, I would only trade micros. Um, you could only do micros whether you do it on NQ, is MNQ or MES, whatever, you will realize it because the money doesn't matter. It's the move that matters, right? Like it's the style that matters at that point in time. You're trying to get that down. So I would absolutely do that. And figure it out. The money part doesn't matter. You'll figure it out where it comes to um, where you're more comfortable and at what time you're more comfortable at it.
Usman, are you able to show the question in there, the where how you can take orders at a specific price on Webull?
Or to call or put on a specific price. I have never traded options on Weibo, to be really honest. I wish if somebody else has asked me as well, I will try to take a look at it tomorrow of how you do it at a specific.
Yeah, I don't know how you put option like how the option is, but when you're buying an option, unless you click market order, most likely you're getting a limit order, and I mean you can set it to whatever price you want, but I'm assuming you want it to buy it at a specific stock price. That I don't know how you do that on Webull. On Webull.
Yeah, and
Robinhood's just so much easier. I don't know why. It's just so much easier. So many people try to fight the Robinhood so hard. It's
yeah,
so easy.
the problem with
It's
putting it at a specific price is like, for example, if you're on SPY and it has a huge green candle, for example, for some reason, or like huge volatility, and it fills you at that price, like at that specific price. For example, SPY went to, for example, like on a day like this, you got into a discount. You wanted it to be, for example, you wanted to take a call option at 460. Like you set it up in the morning or whatever. Like even if it was over here, you wanted to take it above the 200 EMA, right? For example, and you set it at 462, for example. Now if it was just chopping over here and went up over here, the price of this option at 462 would be radically different than this push up to 462. So you could get filled at $1, for example, and if this was a push up, you could get filled at $200 as well. So I would really not want to do that, to be really honest.
See, I usually the reason I like Robinhood is because of my exits. Like I like that. Like when I want to get my order filled, it fills like instantaneously. I mark the order out like without any issues.
Yeah.
I tried it on a Webull and it was I don't know if I did it wrong, but I felt like my order didn't get filled where I wanted it to get filled.
Yeah. No, but that's the other thing though, right? Like that's the exact point of it, right? Like this is pushing up, this is where we tend to take profits, right? And if you have a put, this is where we end up taking profits as well. If you're trying to buy it at an X price, this pushes down is what increases volatility in the price, and therefore increases the price of the contract in itself as well. So while you probably can do that, you will not get that. It's just so much more expensive to do that, and that means you're also now watching your position. So for me, it becomes a really difficult thing to in my brain when I think about it right now to justify it even to do that. That's all. That's just my 2 cents on it. But Joe Ryder already answered you that yes, you can do it.
To be able to do it, yeah. I see what you're saying. You want to catch the momentum
Yeah.
most of the time. So usually you will try to get in, and more times than not you would you would mark it out, especially if you're playing zero DT. Most likely you want to close your trade the moment it hits the big, like the peak of the momentum, because the moment it settles, then the premiums settle, and then you lose quite a bit of profits. But you want to just sell the moment you see like a candle that's pushing red or pushing green really fast.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you close out quickly.
Yeah, just an example, like, when we were falling, like, if you took a put here, for example, right? Like, you saw this topping out or whatever, it started falling over here, you took a put over here, 462, for example. If you saw this falling down, and you took this out, for example, you said that I want to take it at VWAP, right? Because it might just bounce off VWAP, so I'm just going to take it over here. The minute you saw the candle touch over here, you did a market order, whatever price you got, right? But it went down even more. The price that you got over here is going to be radically different than the price you're going to get over here. Because even though the price is the same, this loss of momentum would absolutely kill the contract over here. This price would be significantly higher than the price over here again, or even over here again, whatever. Because even though even though the underlying stock price is the same, the volatility that increased with this move down is absolutely killed by this move up. So that's just my 2 cents on it, like, of buying it at a specific price. All right. I love how I drew this like huge $3 level and it just completely like went out and filled it. Q1, Q, and the same on SPY. I think I had like a $4 level on SPY. I had like completely like $4 move on SPY, just completely filled it. It's horrible. This one, 440, 439.50 all the way down to 435, like a $4 move, no worries. Completely filled it out. Should probably put a level over here somewhere. There's probably a level here somewhere. I'm sorry guys, I probably moved it at some point in time.
What?
I probably moved this level, like I don't know, probably charting somewhere, and I probably moved a level over here. I'm sure there's a level from previous behind, but I saw this after, like later during the day. It just came down, tested this level back up, and then fell straight down pretty much all the way over here. I was like, yeah, no worries, $4 move on SPY, no big deal, absolutely, just a regular.
That was what. That's actually the trade that I took today.
Yeah, so there's like a regular Monday happening, just $4.
Yeah, that's literally the trade I took. Yeah, I closed my first position on that first bounce, and then my second position on the before the third bounce.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that was a great trade. Yeah, I'm sure there's a level somewhere over here, 438. That makes a lot of sense. I'm sure there's somewhere over here, 436. Yeah. Then the ES is pushing nicely up. Futures are pushing up. All right. Good. Slow grind.
Yeah, that's that 8 o'clock push. The moment they overlap here, in another 20 minutes, you're gonna see a little bit more volume as well coming in. That's when India starts coming in as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know. Cool. Any other questions, guys? Anything else? I feel like we're like remarkably quiet today.
I have a question about Robinhood.
Go for it, man.
So when you put a stop loss on Robinhood, you have to, and you're gonna take a profit, you have to take off the stop loss, right, and then take off your profit. How do you do it?
Yeah, you have to take the stop loss off before you put the profit in. That is correct. Like you have to manually cancel that one and then do it, because you can't put both of them at the same time. Like on Webull, you can put a bracket order in where you put a take profit, and like if you are over here, you can put a bracket loss where you put a stop loss and a take profit order at whatever, let's do 10%, and then you can put an order in over here where it puts top and bottom. I haven't seen that because I trade Robinhood on my phone generally, and that's usually for options. I haven't done that in a while for stocks, but I remember like seeing it that if you have a stop loss in place, you have to like cancel it and then go up to the top one and then put your take profit order on it. It doesn't do a bracket order really well. Maybe Robinhood Legend does it, but I never downloaded it.
Like you could do like a stop limit order. So you basically will have a take profit where you want to take profit, and then you'll have a stop limit. So like if a stop loss. So basically, if the price gets to it or the option contract gets to a certain level, it'll automatically trigger the stop loss. Basically, your classic stop loss. But the thing is, you would have to do it all like in the initial sell. Like if you bought a call and you're planning on selling it, you at the top right there's different options. You would have to set it from the beginning. If not, then you would have to uh, cancel whatever sell limit you had originally and put in a new sell limit or sell order. You can only set up one like order bracket for each contract. So if you have only one contract and you're trying to put a sell limit on, but you also want to put on a stop loss, you would have to close the sell limit order that you have that's pending, and then create a new order for a stop loss and a sell limit. You'll see it under the options. Like when you go to sell on the top right, it says limit, market, and then there's stop market. And you can just adjust there. Yeah, you have to do it originally. Because Robin basically allows you to sell each contract individually. Some brokers actually don't let you do that. You can only set up whatever kind of order that you want. They let you close a contract, but not like have multiple sell limits for different contracts like that, like multiple take profits. Robinhood kind of lets you do that, but you can only but you would have to do it as one order if you wanted to do a stop and take profit.
Sorry guys, I just got lost. Drawing, charting. You start to see stuff when you draw too much. This will be really interesting. Okay, sorry guys. Nice.
SPY does not want to lose that 535 area.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in futures, like that's our low, and we're still bouncing off of it.
Yeah, we're just like I just started session, so it's okay. We're also breaking above the 200 EMA on the 1 minute. We're bouncing over.
We'll really know a little later on in the day.
Yeah, that is correct.
If we gap down like this, most likely Asia's gonna have a little bit of a push up until like around midnight, and then start to curl down.
Got it. Yeah, I'm not touching anything. I should probably log out of my futures account as well before I do something silly.
Come on, man, go long.
No, I'm fine.
Go into 440. There's your $7 move.
That would be awesome.
Quote me.
Alrighty, guys. No other questions? I'm free to go. Gonna have a second dinner now. Can we take a look at NVIDIA? Sure. Why not? What do you want to do with NVIDIA? That's the question. I swear to God, I haven't even.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I realized that I've been looking at I think it's the 4 hour. I've been looking at the 4 hour, and I feel like it keeps rejecting off of the 200.
It is. You are correct. You are looking at it absolutely correctly. It rejected.
Okay, and so
yeah.
Right. So in this instance, like I noticed it earlier before market opened that I'm like, man, it keeps rejecting off this area. And earlier when the market opened, I was thinking about taking it, but I didn't. I was like, well, maybe it's just gonna run, but it literally rejected off and came back down. And so I feel like it's bouncing between like 110 to 115. And so in this instance, like let's just say if it comes back and tests it again, it touches the 115 and goes past it. Like how do you really know? I guess because I'm not always looking at the 4 hour time frame, but I guess how if this was you in this instance, would you take it? Because I think this is like the time maybe. So if it was to hit it again, would you like go for a put or just see if it actually kind of like holds it first? So I think sometimes that's my issue. Like it'll get there and I'm like, okay, let me see if it's gonna reject it. And then I don't take it, and then when I don't take it, it literally goes in the opposite direction. Like man, I should have taken it. But I guess like having like a clear direction. Like sometimes I'm not sure if like okay, is it gonna break or is it gonna go back under? Like I have like a hard time sometimes.
It makes sense. No, it makes absolute sense. But if you realize, like, when you go back and look at your charts, you have to realize that there are some places which become more important than others, right? Like if you're looking at your 4 hour chart, for example, right? You realize that this 4 hour chart was important because this 115 level, which is where the 200 EMA is, got rejected over here once, twice, support over here back in March. We bounced over here for a little while. We bounced over here before, and then we broke, like we had this area of support over here as well. So if you go look back at it, these areas, some of those levels are more important than others, where price bounced more. You can go back and you'll realize the reason why it's bouncing is that, there are multiple places where it would have bounced previously, right? I can just keep going back and keep showing you that, there are places where it bounced again and again and again. So sometimes when you see a repetitive pattern in right now, you just go back and take a look at it that, hey, is this just happening right now? So is it because of the 200 EMA? Or is it because of, the price, that is this price where it is being valued at right now more important? That's how I look at it. And Smooth can, put his expertise more than me, because I generally don't trade individual stocks itself. I'm, mostly trade pennies, or I trade futures. But you have to go back and realize that, hey, why is this doing this? Is it doing this because the 200 EMA over here, or did it because do it at other multiple levels as well, like over here, go back over here, over here. Like the reason why I made this sticker was that you'll realize how many times we have tested this, and it has shown you this as a nice support or as a resistance. So that level that you were looking at was perfect. That it is really important that that's why it keeps rejecting off of it. Um, the second thing that I will say is when you look at the day, price moved radically in both directions, right? We rejected off of it, moved down, came all the way down from 115, which is a huge move from 115 to 108, 109, sorry, 109. And then we had a decent move back up all the way to 111. So again, a $2 move up over here. Now, I'm not saying you should take this move, but I'm saying, sometimes you just have to watch how the market overall responds as well, and how the stock is responding as well. It might not be a level per se, right over here it definitely was one of those things, but it also depends on what the market itself is doing, right? Nvidia generally won't go against the market. It actually carries the market. It had been carrying it actually for quite a while. And now when the market moves down, generally, you'll notice that Nvidia is going down with it. One of the only things that I see, one of the only stocks that I see which moves against, doesn't really care, is Tesla. That's my
Apple as well.
Apple, yeah. Apple doesn't move that much though, right? Like we don't do Apple that much because Apple doesn't have like a 5% move in a day generally. I'm just speaking of the I'm not trying to contradict you, Smooth. I'm just saying that the ones that you really like playing options on because they move huge are like Nvidia, Nvidia, Tesla. These are the ones that people really really like because it just moves so much.
Well, Apple's been kind of whack lately, but it used to move just as much as Tesla for sure back in the day when I was trading it.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah, it
Apple
moved
always
just as
used like
much as
one.
Tesla.
Oh, I thought Apple
Yeah.
always used to move like 1%, maybe
No,
1.5%.
it is. It was very whiplashy. It's one of the. It's the besides Microsoft, it's the second most. What's it called? It's in like every major fund. And
Okay.
like it's in the Dow. It's the leading stock in the Dow Jones. It's
Yeah.
like the leading stock in QQQ before Nvidia took over,
Yeah.
and then same thing with SPY. It's been a leader for decades.
Got it. So yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. It's just been really bad lately. I don't know why, but it was really good though. Don't
yeah.
knock it till you try
Okay. So yeah, so
it.
I would, like when you're trading a stock like Nvidia, I would just go back and look at the levels that you are looking at. Like like if there's something important, absolutely look at it. But these days the market is just so news driven, and like once one side catches momentum, it's it moves a decent chunk. Everything these days moves a decent chunk. Um, while it's doing that. So I would just follow the trend for now and go from there. Keep important levels in mind. Like pre-market lows are a nice place. Like if you took a put right it open, like maybe somewhere over here, like in the first like after the first 5 minutes, nice place to take profit would have been right here. It's a good thing to do that. It slowed down a little bit, but just kept going down after that. Like went a huge move after that as well. But um, these days I would just keep a look at your levels where it rejects, and follow the market momentum, and just keep at it. I don't think there's like a lot of whipsawing otherwise that a lot of other things do generally.
One thing I'll also add to, if you're looking at the larger time frames, um, especially like the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, monthly, or whatever the case is, pretty much over the 4 hour, I think, 4 hours and up, um, I would look more closely at the body of the candle rather than just the wick. Um, because if you're in a larger time frame, the top of the candle is where it actually closed. So if you're looking at, let's say, if you want to see if price is unable to go over 114, 115, for example, right? Um, you want to make sure that you have these longer time frame candles, like the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, or whatever the case is, that they're consistently closing underneath the level, right? The rejection needs to take place on a lower time frame. Those where you're going to see the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 30-minute candles, where they're starting to either consolidate underneath the level, or they have huge rejections and put like rejections off of it, where on the 1 minute, if it touches it, it flushes down. On the 5 minute, it might be sitting near it. The 30-minute may have several candles just touching it. And then the 4 hour, what it'll look like is a long upper body wick, and the spot closer, the where the candle closes will be underneath that level. So if you're going to go in a higher time frame, look towards more the body if you're going to look for like a level in price action, and then use that as the reference for like a smaller time frame. um Especially if you're going to be trading options, I would assume you're in a lower time frame. So yeah, if you're gonna look at levels, especially if you're looking at the higher time frame like that, the 4 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, and the hourly, definitely like focus more on the body of the candle, because in the body of the candle was 4 hours of price, like actual price action, and where price actually decided to settle and close at, rather than you know, yeah, pretty much. Hopefully that made
No,
sense.
that's helpful. That's helpful. Thank you.
Mhm. So like in your case where you're looking to see if you were looking to say that it was rejecting at the 115 level, for me honestly, um I would consider going long if it started to push over the 114 level. But now we have a rejection here, so I'm going to be looking at it differently. But if you were just looking strictly on today, like how I'm assuming you were talking about today, I would look at like that, just the body of the candle. You want to see closures over the 114 and supporting at 114. So you know price action is there's a strong support at 114. It's holding it up. Now your resistance will be the 115. So you're right in to say it's a resistance, but you also want that 114 level to be a support. So when we break above it, you want to make sure price is holding at 114, then tries to test 115, and then you look for the break, retest, and confirmation. But you need a few things to take place, like especially have um, from this last few days or the last 4 hour candles, we haven't had any price action over 114. So if price can hold over that 4 hour long big wick that I'm assuming you're looking at, um, then you want that to be support, and then you can consider the resistance for any upside or look for that rejection for like the downside. So to answer your question, where you're saying if you see repeat multiple times, you also want to look to see if it can reject over and over and over and over, and then it breaks. Resistance is usually not forever, so it will continue to reject over and over. That doesn't matter, right? Because unless you're planning to go long, it could reject all at once. Only thing at that point where you should be focusing on is identifying where the support is and trying to short when support is broke. So every time it hits a new resistance or it has a new trend where it's slowly curling up, or whatever the case is, if it's a head and shoulders or whatever pattern you can think in your head that it moves towards this rejection area, like for the third or fourth time, every time it does it, there's a different support along the way. And your job's going to be is going to be finding that new support when it retests that resistance. So it can reject all day from 9 to 4 or 9 to 3, and then at 3 it will just break through and clear right over. Just as long as that support never gets broken. Hopefully that was helpful. Alrighty. Thanks.
Alrighty, guys. Alrighty. So, okay. So, any other questions, guys? Anything? It's a regular second dinner for me then. 8:30. Alrighty, guys. So
Yeah.
if no other questions yet, then we can wrap up over here. If there's anything else, guys, please feel free to message us, tag us, whatever you guys like. Feel free to do that, and then we can go from there. Definitely one of us will try to answer. I think it'll be smooth because he's the smartest out of all of us. So he'll do that, and if he can't do that, then Moin will do it.
Wait, well, I'm sorry. If what I can't do what?
Well, like if you will respond, then Moin will respond because he's the second smarter one, and I'm the random one. So,
I'm not the first smarter one.
Go for it, Cameron. What's up, man?
What's the quick question? What time frame gaps are valid? What do you mean, like time frame gaps are valid? I mean all gaps are valid.
Yeah.
Like the daily. Okay, so a gap in the daily.
Probably
I don't know what you mean by that question.
It just means, gaps. Which ones are more likely to get filled? Which one hold more water? I guess, which one would you give more importance to? And the answer, to be really honest, man, the bigger indices, the problem with it is, what you're looking at, I guess, right? You don't see indices, like big, like QQQ or SPY, all of those stuff. You won't see a gap on them on a 5-minute or a 10-minute or, yes, you might have seen. Look, what you might have seen is over here, right?
The daily, maybe.
Yeah, you'll see it. So
Yeah.
look at SPY, right? Like you'll see this. So I'm trying to show him something exactly over here, like that would have happened, right? So you might see in the pre-market, you might see a gap over here, right? Right over here, like this. You might see a gap over here, right? Like this is not a true gap though, right? Because the futures were trading all night over here, right? So just because Webull doesn't show it, it just shows it as a gap, right? So this is not true either. If you have something like TradingView, probably it will show you like the entire night's trading on it, right? So this is not a gap that is worth even mentioning. For most indices, the only gap that matters is the daily gap. Because that's the one that you will really see something jump up or something happen. That is valid enough.
It
For
usually
other,
be like some catalyst for it,
yeah,
like a news.
exactly. For penny stocks, you might see a gap on a 5-minute chart. You can see it on a 30-minute chart. And those again are because of PR generally as well. But what I would concentrate on, so I'm not a big fan of gaps, to be really honest. I feel like it is one of those things that is hyped up too much. Just because something is moving in that direction, they're like, oh, the gap will be filled, whatever. And psychologically, when enough people believe it, I guess it does happen. But just because there's a gap doesn't mean it needs to be filled today, tomorrow, day after, or whatever. But yeah, if the price is moving towards it or the price is moving in it, especially on a daily gap, I would pay attention to it. Because that ends up becoming a resistance or a support point depending on how you're doing it. The top of the gap or the bottom of the gap ends up becoming a support or resistance. So that's why it's
A
important.
target, yeah.
Yeah, so that becomes an important thing to pay attention to.
So the daily gaps are more important?
Yes, that's what I would pay, especially if you're trading SPY and QQQ and all the big stuff.
All right. Thank you for breaking it down.
You're welcome, man. Always.
Oh, the little one.
Yeah.
Miss Beverly, you're a little late. Hello. I didn't see you today.
Hello.
How are you? How was your day?
I was at the doctor checking on my heart today, so that's where I was. I got my $20 and left.
Yeah, Beverly, the
As long
money.
as you made profit.
Yeah, and as long as you got the move that you were looking for or you were planning for, if you caught that, that is what matters. The money part of it will come in time. Trust me, it will.
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty, give me 2 minutes. I'll be up, okay? Alrighty, guys. I think we're kind of like past 8:30 now. So again, any questions at all, absolutely feel free to shoot them out. We'll definitely answer them in the chat, and then we'll go from there. We'll try to do a live tomorrow. I think we have a scheduled live tomorrow as well. So
yeah, 10 a.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. So feel free to join up. And yeah, but we'll try not to keep it for 4 hours. We'll try not to keep you guys for 4 hours for sure, like last time. Alrighty, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Good night. Take care.
Take care.
Take care.